of the garden is where we grow our garlic, and we planted some onions this year because we didn't have enough garlic starts to actually fill this whole bed. We just moved this from another place, put it in here. But we planted two types of onions. Now these ones here are kind of dying down. These here are 1015Y. It's a yellow sweet onion. Now they call them that, and that's normally what we have in the South, because the date they plant these is October 15th from seed. Now most of the planting charts for us, they don't give a time for planting seed, but if you realize that date, the middle of October, that's when you would plant your short day onions, your winter onions. Like what I'll plant this fall is I'll plant some more yellow onions, and I'll plant red onions. But when you pick an onion to plant, realize whether it's a short day or a long day onion, because if you plant a short day onion and you plant it kind of in the spring, once the day starts getting real long, it's going to bolt. It's going to send up a seed cloud, and flower on top. Now these here, they're short day onions and really haven't got that long a day. They're kind of shaded, and they're still growing. Of course, they could have done better, a little more fertilizer, everything else. But we had planted them up here with these other onions. Now these onions here are bunching onions, or a lot of people call them multiplying onions. Now we planted a few seeds, but and these were planted late, kind of like that. These were actually more into November, middle of November. So, but as you can see right now, it's June, and you can see the size of them, and you can see how a lot of these are all clumped up, and they have a bunch of onions coming from one place, because what they'll do is they'll send out other onions from that onion, and where you had one, you might have 4 or 5. These are good table onions. If you're going to plant for a green onion, as you can tell, even though these ones and these ones were planted at the same time, the green leafy part is a whole lot healthier. Now these are getting closer to where you having some of the leaves die off it, but these are still a great eating onion, where these other ones, if you're using the greens for cooking or something like that, these wouldn't be as good. As far as harvesting these, onions will keep good in the freezer. So if you took and harvested these, and a lot of times you might want to eat the white part of the onion, or maybe the lower part of the green, but you don't really like the top part of the green. Well, it's really good for cooking. So what you can do is cut the tops off that you're not going to use. You can cut them up, vacuum pack them, and then when you need something for a soup or some other type of dish that you're fixing, you can just go in the freezer, get them out, and put them in, and they'll be just as good as whenever you pull them out of your garden. Same thing with the other onions. Now, yellow onions have a lot of sugar in them. They're really sweet onions. Sweet onions of whichever kind they are, whether it be white, yellow, red, they don't keep as long in storage. If you put them in the storage, they're going to have a fairly short storage time. So if you want them later on, I mean, if you had a red onion and you was wanting it for a hamburger, one that was frozen wouldn't be a good way to get it. You probably have to go to the store if you don't have any in your garden. But if you need them for cooking, and like I say, they're not long storage except if they're frozen. So go ahead and cut them up, vacuum pack them, stick them in the freezer, and they'll be there. But I always recommend vacuum packing, because when you vacuum pack, it stays a whole lot longer.